Hello, hello, going live. How are y'all today? So we have a fun day today. We're going to be doing a couple live readings if anybody stops by. We also have our podcast coming up. So you'll be able to see that in a few. And so, yeah. So I'm excited. If y'all are watching those live, you're watching the Diva and the Unk live. We're starting to get, fresh. We're starting to tell our real opinions and all that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll catch it. Um, and yeah, and we love to hear feedback. We love to hear how you're thinking about things because I know we're not the only people that have been following these amazing understandings of ancient history and spirituality and been incorporating it in our own lives and making decisions and choices and growing from the things that we've been learning. And so we are just excited to share it with more people based on the knowledge we've gained throughout our lives and also just to, again, build that community of people that have similar circumstances, that they've been going through something similar, who are also looking for more community, more family, more real connection. And yeah, so here we are. I also, throughout this live, will be talking about my event coming up. So I'll be speaking at the Sacramento Goddess Festival, and that will be on Saturday, the 6th. And it's going to be fun. I'll be doing my vocal alchemy work there, and I'll be also doing a Gene Keys. I guess there's going to be a seminar, but I'm always talking to people, and we're going to be looking at actual charts, and we're going to be looking at what it means for you and why I think more people should be contemplating, learning, growing from the Gene Keys as well as astrology in general. And of course, if you've been watching this channel, you know how much I feel that it can help people in a very in a way that creates some structure around the vastness of what we have to think about and keep our eye on to be true creators of our lives and not just happening like living in response to everything that we've been taught and told. And so it's hard sometimes to incorporate new information and to move forward. And so I think having a practice, a way of doing it, is just very smart because there's just a lot, and especially the less that you've been given on the way here, the more you're gonna need to have a way to keep an eye on things without being overly overly cautious either, because that's not going to help either. So you still have to move forward, but we want to be able to have some kind of systematic way of thinking and addressing the different areas that are impacting what we're creating next, right? So let's talk about that. I'm gonna change my screen here so I can show y'all a little bit of the website. For Sacramento Goddess Festival. So yes, we are doing live readings. So if you want to do a live reading, just make sure that you put your information in the comments, or you can use my form. Oh, let me get that for y'all first before I get into the other stuff too deep. Yeah, we're gonna do 2 comments for y'all to be able to do that in the YouTube. The YouTube. And I think I can pin that, right? And then we'll do one more. So if there's the first one is if you want to do a form instead of putting your birth information into the comments. A lot of people are more cautious about that, which I do recommend. I'm very cautious about sharing your birth information in public. But if you don't care, just go ahead and put it in the chat. And then if not, if you want something more, you know, behind the scenes, then you just fill out the form in the chat and then comments that you filled out the form because I'm not going to have the multiple eyes in all the areas. I'm just going to expect you to tell me if you sent something in the form in the comments, okay? And then if anybody sends any donations, same thing, just let me know and I'll you'll be first. And yeah, so and then we'll get through as many as we can. And if we need more time, well, like again, the donations will come first. So it will go through as many as we can. Of course, I'll do a reading, even if you don't give a donation. But if there is a donation, we're going to move towards that. Okay. So let's see. Let's show you what's going on over here. I'm gonna share my screen so you can see this amazing. Well, he doesn't want to play. Let's do this. Here we go. I'm gonna share. Here we go. And when that changes, we're gonna do it here. I think that's the cue. Is that my cue? I'm gonna double check that you can see it, but I think it's working. Pretty sure. Let me just, yeah. I like to double check. So this is Sacramento Goddess Festival. It'll be in Sacramento. It'll be downtown on H Street at the Scottish Rite Center. It is going on in 5 days, Saturday, this September 6th. So you can get tickets to the festival here on the page, Sacramento Goddess Festival. And ta-da, that's me. That is me. And I only get one of the little thingies, but what you'll see is that I have both, if you go into the event schedule, I have both Local Alchemy as a time frame and Gene Keys as a time frame on Sunday or Saturday. I messed that one up. So yeah, so those are two separate seminars and they both have very different information, right? So yeah, and then you'll see one of our YouTube faves here. The keynote is Geraldine Orozco. How fun is that, right? I think I'm saying her name right. I haven't met her yet, but we've done an astrology class together, so that was fun. And I'm looking forward to meet her in real life, you know? That's one of the fun things about building something online and then getting to meet people. She has that interview on Gaia, on Gaia. Forget which show, but she is just is released this year and an amazing person. She's obviously got so much knowledge and so much in-depth ability to read energy and help other people understand interdimensional genealogy and relationship, like big deal stuff. So the fact that she's coming, I'm kind of over the hills with that. I was like, ooh, good find. She's amazing, you know? So looking forward to that. So I hope to see you there at the Sacramento Goddess Festival. And if you see me or Geraldine, then say hi and make sure you follow us on YouTube. Right? So, oh, that's what I wanted to put on the thing too. I'll change the title when I get over. Oh, can I do it now? No, I can't. Can I? Probably can't. Can I? Probably can't, right? That doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Let's see if I can. I think I've never tried this before. I don't know if it'll let me edit it while I'm still alive. But as we wait for people to come in, just again, as people come in, that we're doing live readings. It's going to be fun. I wonder how many characters they'll let me do. Sacramento. I want to put Sacramento in here in case we can let anybody know that, um, what we're talking about over here. Anybody in Sacramento know that this is going on. They may not be familiar. They may not be familiar. I don't want them to miss it. Can I put it in here? I will for now. let's see if this works, y'all. It might not work till afterward. I'm updating it so that it'll have that. That was the plan. But you know how it goes. I have these amazing ideas and they leave my head as fast as they come in, you know? And that's what I'm working with over her. So I think I don't know, we'll see. Kind of curious now if I go back. Oh my goodness. So yeah. So all you got to do is choose a chart. You got to choose which one you want. If you don't know, just let me know what question you have about that you would want to know out of your astrology chart. And what I'll do is I'll choose the chart that I want to read from because I like them all. I like them all. My favorite is the Gene Keys. It is why I'm talking about the Gene Keys at the Goddess Festival. But yeah, like we can do whatever you want. Or and the WA means Western astrology for those who are like, why W? Because Western, right? I don't read Vedic, but I do use it for like planning, like chance and that kind of thing. It's not really planning, but like it's what would I call that? I would call that uh coding. I don't know. So basically I use the planets and then I use certain words based on the Vedic chart. I feel like that's the most important part of having the exact stars and exact position in the sky is really that relationship. For me, Western astrology is more useful in that it's about what's happening on the surface of the planet. And a lot of us are in real time, in real response. And some of us have graduated way past that, and Vedic is way more true for them. And, you know, all power to you. You know what I'm saying? We all do what we need to do. Gene Keys is one of my favorites because that to me is what gives the feelingness of being clear and centered and present. And it helps me with the shadows, it helps me discern, ooh, is that shadow showing up right now? How to deal with that because normally our shadows can be tricky because we tend to react out of the patterns we've learned from getting out of trouble in the past or just out of, the way other people do things. So again, you get into these patterns and what Gene Keys does is that it tells you in my opinion, very clearly about what is the shadow pattern and what is the gift pattern. And when we, really take advantage of those gifts and really allow for the opportunity to live into the higher vibration of those gifts. That's the magic of it. So what I love about Gene Keys is it lets you know, like, hey, I know you think you're being high vibration, but you're seeing the shadow. And if you're seeing that shadow, you're in a shadow vibration. It's like a gentle little, you're in the shadow vibration, right? So you're like, okay, so, and then once you realize that, you can use your tools, right? You can decide, okay, let me use my tools. I'm going to do some humming. I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to do some chanting. I'm going to do the things that I know that bring me into a higher vibration, into more alignment. And then we'll see again, how do I see the story? How do I see the perspective? Where's my opportunity to live into my genius and my superpower, right? That is the beauty of Gene Keys. I love it for that. Human design, I love it for the map. How are my emotions connecting to my ability to manifest or speak up for myself? How is my orientation to who I be, which is how I think of the G center. How's my orientation to who I be being communicated and aligned with my actions and my thinking and my speech, right? And what are the things that I know I'm triggered for, right? So if you know you have certain channels and you know things work certain ways, like, well, maybe I'm going to put myself in an environment where I can just work naturally and automatically in that way. Or if I know that there's certain things that come into play because I'm not built for certain ways that, other people are built, then I notice that, or at least prepare my mind or prepare a plan before I move into those spaces, right? On both sides, human design, pretty much all astrology has its own way of speaking to our health patterns, what we tend to, how we tend to get sick, um, how we tend to not feel successful, our shadow patterns around how our self identities. That's pretty much every astrology chart. So for human design, I like to use genetic matrix, and Gene Keys is Gene Keys is the website is the website. Did I put that one up? Oh, let me make sure I can get you, like, you can get a free chart just like you can with other things, but some people don't know the link. So I'm going to give you the link to that. Mm. I already recorded the podcast, so I think I'm a little tired, but my voice has been getting a little tired. I'm perimenopausal. I just got my first set of hot flashes a couple weeks ago. So that was complicated. I was like, what is happening? Let me know. So let me know if you fill out the form or if you want to put your astrology details right in the chat. Either way is fine. I'll be munching on my tea. My husband's always like, why? Oh, he doesn't try to change me because otherwise we'd both be highly frustrated. We're both ones in numerology. And so we don't do well with direct orders, either one of us. Either one of us. So yes, don't forget, free reading, free reading. Just put your information in a chat, or you can use the form if you don't want your information out in public, which I totally get. I would recommend actually the form, but for the other ones that I've done up until now, turns out that y'all like a form. I mean that y'all like the chat. So whatever floats your boat, it's your choice. You get to choose any of the gene keys, astrology, human design. If you don't know, just send me the question with the birth information and I'll pick the chart based on what I'm feeling intuitively. What sounds fun to me, because we're here for the fun, for the community, for the hanging out of the things. How's everybody doing tonight? If you just want to tell me what's up with you. If you're having a good evening or morning, or where are you in the world? And I'll be throughout the live until I get some chart requests. I'll be talking here and there about the sage. I mean, I keep wanting to call it Sage Goddess because that's another channel I watch on YouTube. Do y'all watch that one? Sage Goddess. I haven't been to the shop yet, but I thought when I moved to California I would end up going there. But it's like way south of LA. Has anybody been to the shop? I'd be curious. It's way south of LA, and I've been to LA a few times, but it's always more than you want to do because the traffic is real in in LA. It is real. So the quest of like doing another hour while you're out of town and you got to get back on the road in the next couple of days, like how much of that you want to do? Mm-mm-mm. So anybody in Sacramento or from Sacramento? That's another thing I'm gonna let y'all know. So I'm hoping that Sacramento peeps will hang out and come by the Sacramento Goddess Festival. And it'll be downtown. So let me show you that while I'm waiting for somebody to send me some readings. Send me a reading thingy. So if you haven't been to a goddess festival, they're pretty cool. We do things like music and we do some great um events. So we talk about different topics. You can get your tickets on the website or when you get to the festival. It'll be downtown, H Street, Scottish Rite Center. And so here are some of the things that will be going on. So I'll let that flash for a bit. And that's me. That's me. So I'll be doing vocal alchemy, and that will be um fun. I'm looking forward to that. Remember, you get to pick any of the charts, live reading for any of the charts. Just send me your birth information. There's a form there if you don't want to do that publicly. So I'm going to go the yin yang route to explain like how alchemy is actually a part of the work that I do and part of the coursework and part of the workshop we'll be doing together with voice and understanding of this energetic concepts. So we'll start out with yin yang. We'll be talking about parameters of creation and being artistic. Do you recognize her, Geraldine Orozco? She's here on YouTube too. Have you seen her, Geraldine Orozco? One of the other people I like to hang out and watch on YouTube, and she'll be there too. Again, just send me your info and I can get started on your live reading anytime, anytime. So yeah, so we're going to talk about energy work, vibrational work with chakras, like what is, that's great that you know the chakras, and hopefully you do. If not, we'll be going over a little bit briefly as we speak about how to think of the chakras as you doing energy work and how to allow to energize and align them through voice as well. And then the speakers and singers. So we'll be talking about being a purposeful speaker and singer. So that'll be fun. So that's all the vocal alchemy by itself. So gene keys will be a wholly different thing. We'll be talking about what the differences are between gene keys and other astrology. So that I think is fun. Personally, it's fun to me. I like it. That's why I'm talking about it. And then if anybody and like, well, I'm thinking people probably won't bring charts, but I'll have my computer there and then we can look up charts while we're there, or we can just use somebody who has their chart like on their phone or something. But yeah, there will be a lot of different ways we can play with that, but we'll be looking at it to see how the paths work. And then we'll be also speaking directly to specific people's charts. So yeah. So just hanging out. So let's see. You've been getting people bouncing in and out, huh? Like if you're not sure that you want your chart read, I totally get it. If you want to just talk about something else, we can do that. We can talk amongst ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So, oh, that was interesting. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like I'm checking for comments, and when I check for comments, it shows me where it is on the YouTube, on the live play. And I'm just like, oh, I thought I would be further along by now. But it is what it be. It is what it be. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing the chart. I want to do at least one. If not, we can let's see, what do we want to do? Let's do some of that. Let's look at a couple charts. We'll be going more in depth at the Sacramento Goddess Festival, but we can just kind of look at them for now. So let me pull some of those up. See how many things I can do at once without my computer yelling at me. Anybody else have tabs for days? I do have an organizational thing where I categorize my tabs and really helps, believe it or not. It's not really by category because that would require a great recall of namings and memory. And that's not one of my natural talents. But it does help me realize what needs to be organized, what projects I'm working on. Sometimes I work, no, pretty much all the time, I'm working from project to project. So I'm not working on one thing, I'm working on five things, which is not unusual for anybody who's doing a business online because a lot of times you have to create something in order to promote something. In order for that promotion to happen, you have to create other copy, other words, other pictures, and all that. So you're kind of moving between creative and completion. And sometimes you start a whole nother project in order to complete the first project. Not sometimes, all the time, regularly. If you ever were like, why can't they just make this easy? So there's no easy way about it. And especially if you're I don't know, creative, heartfelt, if you are intuitively led, if you get inspired to share things, then it gets even more complicated because, again, you might have an idea that works fine on its own in your head, but then when you have to practically share it and give steps and help people understand what you're talking about, it's not as easy as it sounds, right? It's not that easy. But here we go. Let's look at a couple of the different types of charts. And sometimes I think people don't know which chart to choose. You can choose any of the three, but let's just look at this briefly. So this is a human design chart. So I think most people have seen human design charts by now, but if not, if you're mostly a Western astrology buff, then I get it. And you see anything familiar though, just because it looks different doesn't mean you don't know anything about it. Pretty much all astrology is driven by your birth date, right? So that's the first thing you're going to see. It's your birthday. You know what that is. There's no surprise there, right? And then what else do you see that looks familiar? The planets, right? But there's two of them. There's two sets of planets. What the heck is going on? Yeah. So this is where, if you've ever heard about human design, people's talking about the human design crystal or the personality crystal. What they're talking about is that there's a point in the download for Ra'uruhu that was told to Ra'uruhu that about, I think it's about 8 to 9 months before you're, no, 8 months, I think it's 8 months before you're born, the personality crystal is deposited. And so that has its own time stamp. I'm saying personality, but it's the design crystal. So the design crystal comes about 8 months before, and then your birth time is your personality, right? So the difference, what is the difference? The personality is what you show to the world, how people know you, right? So, and then the design crystal is how you're wired. So what you're hoping is in between those two things, you get some communication between your body and your actual experience, right? And that's what we're looking for here. Like if we're like what we would like to see the best, I think that's properly stated. Most of us like to see the channel completed, right? So having a complete channel means that there's a kind of automatic way information moves between these parts of your body, between these understandings and ways of being. And they are, if you have the whole channel, then it's completing that whole circuit and you're not kind of getting lost or stuck on one side or the other. So the channels that aren't completed, we tend to be we tend to like want the other side of the channel to be completed, right? So you want to fix ourselves by adding that component because you see it in others, we see it in the transits, and we're like, why can't I have that? My life would be so much easier if I could just be like that, right? I don't know if you've ever had that thought, but I have. But that is not to be, that is not to be. But what we do get is the transits. What we do get is others, fellow humans that we get to learn from and grow with. right? And so that is just as important. So that is a human design chart. I love looking at human design charts, like I said, to see how you're wired, to see what may be coming up on a regular basis that we don't really need to deal with. We don't really need to deal with. I pretty much use gene keys with everything. It just makes more sense to me because, like, to me, just knowing I'm a Cancer sun and moon, Scorpio rising. It's great to know. That's a really good information. But does that mean I'm only going to be one way for the rest of my life? No. Like, no, nobody who believes in astrology believes that, right? It just means that I have tendencies, I have likes and dislikes that tend to move in those arenas. And then again, as everyone in the world, we are all maturing, we're all creating. It could change, it could stay the same. Who's to say? Who's to say? So let me come back here, double check that I'm not missing anybody's birth information. You can send it on in. Send it on in. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. We're seeing what's going on here. I feel like the recording's showing me like 1,000 years behind. So I'm just going to refresh to see if I'm missing anything that's happening right now that I cannot see. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. Good. I'm not missing anything. So that was a human design chart. So what about the astrology charts? Have you seen that before? Western astrology? Hmm. Hmm. What about a June key chart? Have I looked into the new star prosperity path? The star chart? Star Pearl. And I honor people's names and whatnot. Star Pearl. I like it. I don't love my Star Pearl keys. Does anybody have a problem with the Star Pearl keys? I'm like, why? I've got repeating keys. I've got a lot of twos, so I have like 20, 12, 22 twice. What else? There's another one. I do. I don't know. I have two in my human design chart. I don't, but not in my gene key chart. But then I have like my star pearl has like you get three new keys and you're like, ooh, I want to know my new keys. And then my third key is a repeat of the second key of my star pearl that I got added, which is 33.3. Y'all, y'all. I don't like threes. I'm a 3-5, so for those who know human design, 3-5 is a tough assignment, right? That changing factor and that the factor that things change. Now my gene key chart tells me that already because that 3 is talking about how I need how my life will just be interrupted suddenly and I just need to roll with it. So my life's work is to get into flow and to be in the moment and to create from there and trust myself in creating from there. And that's that 3 and the changingness of it, that's my superpower, right? So who else is the 3-5? There's usually a good amount of 3-5s in the room, you know. Again, if you want me to pull your chart, just tell me which sign or which chart you want and what question, or you can just tell me the question and I'll choose a chart to pull for you. I'll choose it for you. So it's up to you. It's up to you. And then if you want to send donation, that's totally up to you. Don't feel like you have to in order to get a chart. It's just part of the fun. It's like a mini incentive for me. It's also an opportunity for that energy exchange if you know that you can. For me, I have a lot that I want to do, a lot that I want to build. I'm always growing, and I always feel like I could use more resources. And so if that's available for you, then that would be lovely. But if not, don't think twice about it. Just go ahead and ask for your chart reading, okay? So yeah, let me do this is one of the things I promised myself I would do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my next Sacramento hail. Hey, Sacramento. We're gonna be in town and on time uh, on next weekend. So let me show you what I got, show you what you got, show you what you got. Right here, right here. All right. So we are going to be in Sacramento Goddess Festival next weekend. I say we, as hubby and I, both of us will be there. And I will be teaching vocal alchemy and gene keys as separate seminars there at the Sacramento Goddess Festival at the Scottish Rite Center downtown, H Street. So if you're in Sacramento, you should hang out. Guess who else is going to be there? Let's look. I saw that I would read it, but that would be a lot of reading. And I don't really feel like talking like that. That's our keynote. Did you see it? I'm gonna wait till it comes by before you talk about it. So this is just some of the people that are gonna be out there. You can go to the page to get tickets. You can go to the page to like decide when you want to stop by, who you want to see. Like I said, I'll be doing both seminars, one a little earlier, one a little later. One will be the vocal alchemy, and the second one will be gene keys. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. We're going to talk a little bit about that interplay of what creates alchemy. What are the different traditions that talk? I mean, there's like all traditions have a version or a form of alchemy because healing must be done, right? Integration is a thing. So that is just the truth. And then we're going to talk about how I incorporate it into voice and energy work. So that was my surprise, Geraldine Orozco. How cool is that? She is got a fairly large channel here on the YouTube. She also is on Gaia. If you haven't caught her yet, she has an interview on Gaia. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. And I kind of know her from online. I kind of know her because we did an astrology class together, a Chinese astrology class together for a little bit. So that was fun. So yeah, so you should check us both out, support your YouTube fam if you are in Sacramento. And if nobody, let's see who has, come on, guys, give me something to read. I want to read a chart. Come, let's read a chart together. I don't even know. Don't ask me. I'm a singer. I have so many different accents in my little bucket. Let's see. How many it's probably not right to call them accents, but I've sung in several languages for opera. So you have to learn at least three different what do you call it? Dictions in order to sing operatic music. So my three top are Italian, of course, English, Spanish, and French. Those are my top. But I've sung in Russian, I've sung in Greek, I've sung what else? Those are the ones that come to mind right now. But it it's also part of the way I hear. I hear accents and I translate them. And so it's not always even that I'm translating the words sometimes from a different language. I'm translating the parts of the word. So from Latin, from different words I do remember and know from different languages. Like, oh, I said Greek, but I didn't say German. I've sung in German. I've sung in Latin. I've sung in, there's one more. Very little, but Hebrew. So yeah, and I've chanted in a Kemetic dialect. Of course, I don't know how accurate you can be with Kemetic languages, but uh, again, I tend to run into the channelers and downloaders. From I learned my interpretation of the dialect through Raw Simaba. So he's also on YouTube. Like YouTube, YouTube shout outs. Raw Simaba. He's pretty cool too. So yeah. So I think it's always worth it. Well, I'm good at remembering sounds and even essentially understanding the components of how sounds are made in the mouth. It's kind of part of my channeling skill. It's like I can hear it, I can model it, I can create it. And some, that's the same thing intuitively. I just hear it, I model it, and then I create it, right? When I'm doing singing. If y'all haven't checked that out, I have like a couple gene keys where I do a full breakdown, talk about my point of view, my life experience with certain gene keys. And then at the end, I do a channeled sounding of that key and line. So they're keys and lines together. That's a big project, but I do plan on completing it. It's just that I keep choosing really big projects. And the one that's taken priority right now is to move all of my website and features into a place where I can do everything in the same place. And I can start automating a lot of my systems so that I can stay in touch with people, but also not spend as much time being at the computer as is my freedom goal, right? So let me know if you filled out the form. Just go ahead and say, I have a form ready for you. And I have, yeah, a form. I have my date of birth ready for you in the form. And I can go well, no, I can do that now. Why not? Can I do that right now? Yeah, look at that. Oh, is it saying that it doesn't work? Well, that's not cool. Oh, did it? I think I know what it did. I think I know what it did. I'm sorry about that, guys. Let me fix that. I'm going to, yeah, it brought it all together. See what happens when you're not paying attention. Let me try that again. Mm, let's fix that. Fix it. Fix it. Yeah, I think that'll work now. Pin that back up in there. There we go. So that I think should work now. Sorry about that, guys. Poop happens. Poop happens on a regular basis. Yeah, yeah. So has anybody seen a Star Pearl for Gene Keys? I'm curious. I'm curious. And so we can talk about that one next. We can talk about that one next. You like Gene Keys? I'm curious because this is not the first time that people have asked me to come to speak about Gene Keys to their group. Spoke to a lot of online groups, and I think it's going to get more popular in small groups as well for people who like astrology. Why? Why? Because it's not something that's easily approachable. Richard Rudd has a nice little strong because it's like serious to him, right? It's his spiritual download, right? And back in the day, a lot of this stuff was highly gate kept, right? And he doesn't feel that there's a need for gatekeeping, but he does feel that there's a need for to fully understand and not to misinterpret and not to go out and just start talking about things you don't know about, which a lot of us do anyways, because it's 2025, and that's why it's a little weird that we even try to kind of keep things from each other in that way. But I get it. I definitely get it. And I'm a Gene Keys guide. So I have permission. I have permission to talk about how I interpret, how I work with the Gene Keys and how I help people work with the Gene Keys. And his process of embodiment for his work is contemplation. So it's a form, it's not meditation, because meditation is about like releasing all thought and all identity and all the things, right? And maybe just focusing on light or love, something like that. Whereas contemplation is about thinking about a thing, right? So it's about sitting with that thing in a meditation where you're just going to hold that one thing. And that's why a lot of people call like self-help tools, they're not really the spiritual tool itself, right? Because meditation is not about doing a thing, it's about not thinking, not doing, right? So as soon as you incorporate a tool, they're like the purists are like, that is not meditation. Why are you even calling it that? Right. But and it's kind of like that with the Gene Keys. That was my point in bringing that up. But I did want to talk about a little bit about those bridges, right? So one of the meditation bridges is to focus on a candle's flame. And what that does is that focuses our attention, but it also is very alchemical. And so it can take you into the space of initiation. It's an element, right? And it's a very, and fire is that spark, that initiation, that it sets things off, right? So it can be very activating spiritually and energetically. So it's a nice practice to start with. And it's not quite, like I said, in the original form of meditation, it wouldn't necessarily be called meditation, right? And it's the same thing with the Gene Keys. When he's talking about contemplation, he's talking about literally just sitting with the word and seeing what downloads you get, what intuitive hits and responses you get. So it's not to be overly complicated, but it is a beautiful treatise on I Ching, on the 64, on the evolution of our personalities and of being human, all those kinds of things that really can help us start to untangle the confusion of like where are people coming from? Like, why am I keep running the same pattern? What is going on? Really? What is going on? If anybody's ever had that frustration, it's like, oh my God, I thought I was making the right choice. Um, I thought that I'd fixed that, these kinds of ideas. And it's not about fixing anything. It's about really, I'm so saying I pinned the wrong one. Oh, no, I didn't. The thing is lying to me, y'all. All right. So, so yeah, it's not about making like fixing anything per se, but it is about being able to see through our own mirroring perspective. That keeps us in that confusion, right? And that's what I love about the Gene Keys, that it reveals that is that key to unlock the gift. So the shadow's not there to trick you or to trip you up. It's to help you to see where the unlock is located. Just like if we were talking about healing and energy work, it's the same thing, right? The pain is not to kill you, right? It's to tell you something needs to be done over here. And just like it's like, may I get your attention, please? We're trying to keep you alive by letting you know there is a thing happening on this side of your body, right? So so yeah, so that's the same. And that's one of the things, like we are like the tool is in the puzzle, so to speak, right? but it's not always easy to see it. And I feel like that's what Gene Keys decodes. It decodes the the like it takes it out of the shadow, right? It's like it's the shadow, and because there's nothing wrong with our shadows, they're all there to give us the key, right? And when we're seeing shadows in others, it's not so that we can submit to the shadow, it's to show us the unlock and where's the genius that will combat that shadow? Where's the genius that will balance that shadow, right? So that's the beauty of it. I love human design too, but we all know, and especially the original is just a little, I think in a good way, sometimes confronting, direct, but not always deeply accurate in truth because of that, you know? So one of my favorite translators of human design is Karen Curry Parker, who does quantum human design. If you've ever seen her, if you've ever seen her, I love her. I love her. So I was talking about the story of mm-mm. So anybody from Sacramento out there? You out there? Anybody? I'm about to get a run through. Like I said, throughout this, we're going to be jumping on over there. If you want to do a reading, don't forget, I need your information in the chat or to go ahead and put that in the form, and then I can pull your chart for you. Or if you just want to put in your birth information in the chat or in the form and ask me a question, I can do that. And I'll pick the chart that I think will give you the best information on that. Okay. If you're in Sacramento, I have something I want to tell you. I have something I want to show you. I do, I do. I do, I do. Let's show the content for the people. Here we go, here we go. The Sacramento Goddess Festival. So y'all, if y'all don't, if y'all haven't been to a Goddess Festival, I highly recommend it. It's fun. We party. And we do, there's food, there's crystals, there's amazing fairies. Like there's really cool things. Like they have these ladies that have wings, and they have all kinds of people that travel that are bringing things from where they've traveled. So even herbs and that kind of thing. And the last year I went to the one in Yosemite and it was very, very nice. This year I'll be going to both. So I'll be going to Sacramento Goddess Festival on Saturday, the 6th, the next week, 5 days away. Can you believe it? And I'll be doing vocal alchemy and gene keys as a workshop. So we'll be at the Scottish Rite Center. It's going to be a surf run. That's me. Oh my gosh, you recognize me? That is me, Monifa Harris. I will be doing gene keys and the human and vocal alchemy. So that'll be super fun. It'll be super fun. And what I'm waiting for is it's a YouTube famous individual that's going to be our keynote. You'll see it in a second. Can you guess who it's going to be? YouTube famous. Think about it. Think about it. Who do you think of? Comment below who you would guess YouTube famous. When I say YouTube famous about a goddess festival, who comes up for you? Ooh, it's like tricking us, y'all. It doesn't want to show us. It's like, nope, I'm not gonna tell. There she is, Geraldine Orozco. If you haven't checked out her channel, very cool individual. A translator of genealogy and intuitive energy reader, um, of interdimensional genealogy. So not just your family, right? But your spiritual family, your star family is what a lot of people call it. But she's had a lot of personal experiences, and she runs a group even where they talk it through and start building themselves back into wholeness, alignment, and cohesion across their interdimensional families and dramas, right? Isn't that amazing? But she's our keynote for Goddess Festival. So you can get your ticket right there. Sacramento Goddess Festival is the actual website. So you can just go straight there and get your ticket, or you can get your ticket when you come. Come and get your ticket. That's fine too. That is fine too. But yeah, so that'll be so much fun. So much fun. And I'm looking forward to that. If you want your chart, you know what to do. Put it in the chat. Tell me which one you want. Tell me which one you want. Yeah, I love it. The world is gone crazy, y'all. Tell me it has not. There's probably all kinds of, I'm thinking about it now, there's probably all kinds of lives happening right now. It is the weekend. It's Sunday, right? Yeah, Sunday. So it's probably when people are off of work and able to do their lives. But I thought it was worth coming out. I did want to hang out for a little bit because we also have our podcast coming up in a bit. So if you haven't known about the drama of my hubby and I's doing a podcast together, the drama continues and the evolution continues. So we have our newest episode coming up live in a bit. Well, it's not live, but it'll be streamed in a bit as the premiere. So we'll be around. So if you comment on the live, then we'll comment with you, or maybe we'll send our little kind of musings as we watch it with you guys to see what's being. We're like, oh, I forgot I said that. You're like, oops, I don't know if it meant to come out that way. That's the fun of non-scripted. Like a lot of what I do is non-scripted, right? And when we go into this next age fully, y'all, we've already crossed into it, in my opinion. Chinese astrology has it as 20-year cycles, and we've crossed in this year, 2025, fully. Okay. Now, the other interpretation of Western astrology is giving like February 2026 as the click in. But it's a human design that has kind of the latest kind of click into the Aquarian age of how things are going to be changing in our actual makeup of what makes us human, and actually how we are connected and interconnecting. And that one is a 300 and something odd year cycle. Am I right? 16, 15 to something like that, right? 16, 15 to 20. So that was 400 and so it was 412 years, something like this. 412 years that that cycle lasts. And it's essentially the old cycle of you do it because your family's done it, and that's how you create success. Ooh, I almost said the fun word. That's how you create success, is by following in your family's footsteps and getting it right, or following a strong mentor's footsteps to get it right. And it's going to be much more about our individual journeys, about spontaneity, about what is real and true for us and our emotions. We're going to be starved for it because there'll be so much that is starting to be read, funneled, changed, reoriented through AI. And so I feel like that's just a natural progression, right? But funnily enough, astrology predicts it. In all the ways, because even in technology, Aquarian age is about technology, technology that bridges the gap, that creates community beyond border, right? And creates family without blood lineage, right? And so that has been happening. We've been seeing that happen as we've had to not like leave family or get kicked out of family or find the truth of who we are outside of our family. And the more that's happened, the more the truth is that we create or choose our own family, right? And that is the funnest. Isn't that the funnest? I think it's the funnest because that's how we create our communities of the future. It's how we create our communities of the future. So it's good stuff, y'all. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a few more minutes. I'm about to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I'm about to wrap it up. I think I've given plenty of opportunities. If y'all want to do a reading, I've got a few more minutes. I could get in a nice little reading for you. I have a little bit of reading. I hope that you do. That is why I'm here. That's why I'm here for you guys. So did I show the star pearl? Oh shoot, I forgot, didn't I? My bad. Let's show the star pearl real quick. Let's do the star pearl. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. That was not all in pitch, by the way, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. So I didn't, this isn't the star pearl, but I figured I don't want to fooze people too much. Y'all, there's such a prettier chart now. They've done like all these renewals and everything. But this is an old chart. This is actually my chart to tell you the truth. So, so this is what I was talking about. I've got the twos. I've got all the twos. So, so yeah. But this is a gene key chart. What I love about it is it's hologenetic. So even though it looks, like it's a two-layer, you can cross your eyes and you can see the interdimensionality even within the line placements, right? And it is like the star pearl, I mean the pearl in and of itself, these lines are actually perforated because it's not actually connected literally to anything. It's actually floating in the middle of that pyramid. I don't know if that would be considered, was it tetrahedron? Something like that, right? Tetrahedron, I think, would have something on their side. So, but it is kind of a tetrahedron. Like if you put everything together, it basically is the Merkaba, right? I don't know how many people, that's not something we were taught in Dream Keys. That's my seeing this as I learn more and more and more, right? So that's what's cool here. That's what we'll be talking about is the Sacramento Goddess Festival. So come hang out with us if you are in Sacramento. I'll be talking about vocal alchemy and then I'll be talking about gene keys. So we'll get into a little bit more detail about how vocal alchemy incorporates gene keys and why. And we'll get into the gene keys themselves, how it works. So there's the three colors, right? Which are the three paths of the gene key. So that's cool. So y'all know which one's which. I'm wondering like what people are learning so far because it does take some time. It takes you have like Richard Rudd's not going to let you just run through his information, right? You're going to sit down, you're going to get some tea, and you're going to contemplate, right? Like that's the order of business in the Gene Keys world, right? So, but I think it's nice to just know a couple of things so that people understand when they're coming in that there's cool things ahead, right? There are cool things. Once you spend the time on it, there's so much revealed in the Gene Keys work. So the first thing is that the first path is the green path, and so it's the full circle, right? It's the one. It's the one. And that path, and what I think is so interesting is that people are like, it's a path. It'll probably run once a month, a couple times in your lifetime. And they're like anybody who studied Gene Keys just kind of will chuckle at that, like, because it's not one time, it's constant, who are constantly running like a circuit energy. Think of an energetic circuit. How many times could an energetic circuit run? Your DNA runs it that many times a billion, right? That's how many strands are just in each cell in each of every part of your body. This code is there. It is genetic, right? So again, I never say like, let astrology define you, but be real about what is it defining about you, right? Like, because we all have everything, right? We've all experienced it in transits or in other people and life. We've experienced all of these things. So what part of you wants to be separate from whatever's in your chart is a good thing to find out just as much as, yes, that sounds exactly like me, and I know exactly where that's going. Like if you're repelled by your chart, then that's something to investigate. And something to investigate, especially in gene keys. I don't even say that as much in astrology, like, take it or leave it. It's whatever. Take what works, leave what doesn't work. In gene keys, I would say at least tell the story, whether it's somebody else you've seen running the pattern, whether it's you know, something you've seen in a movie. Know the pattern. If it's in your chart, just know the pattern. Just know the pattern. And then notice if it comes up, even if it's just in others, right? Because we are one. A mirror is a mirror. It happens. I'm not saying it's always feels right and perfect, but it is. It is happening. So there's that first leg. That first leg is running clockwork, like clockwork, like it's beyond every second. It's all the time. All the time I'm running this path of intellect, psychosis, expectation, failure. It's always available. But so is my gifts. So are precision, inspiration, detachment. Never look off into the. That's because that's my detachment. I'm kidding. It is a little bit. It is a little bit. That's part of the reason why I can bring people into present moment and bring myself into present moment for channeling and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not all here, right? That's part of it. But that rootedness comes in the preservation. Why? Because there are things here that I know must be preserved, and I know I have I have an intuitive sense of the right things to take from one stage to the next. So preservation. I think I'm probably that for this change of age. Like what are we leaving behind? What are we taking with us? What will be grafted on for the betterment of our next leg of love of leg of humanity. Somebody's getting tired talking. All right, one more thing. We want to see the star pearl, right? Let's look at that. So this is the star pearl. Nutty Mudder. So this is how much cooler the new charts are. They're nice and 3D-ish. Look at those perforated lines into the pearl matrix. Look how it's a remodel of the six-pointed star. It's a remodel of like a little mini version of the Metatron's cube. Am I the only one that thinks these things? I don't think so. I don't think so. There's too many people who know best, know differently in this time and place. So this isn't mine, actually. This is actually my beloved's. My beloved's. So he gets all these new cool ones. I have like 233s and then a repetition of one of my other numbers. And it's like, yay, yay. Not really. But it is what it be. It is what it be. So this is the start room. And we already know this is our prosperity path. That's that upward section of it's that third path on the golden path, which starts with the purpose path, which is the green that I was putting out before. I'm sorry. And the red was the love love and relationships, essentially, path. How we are relating ourselves with others. Okay. And then prosperity path is how we are serving and being served in the economy of humanity, in our truth of who we are, not just money, but prosperity is the path. The pearl path is the prosperity path. So if you hear the people talking about it in different ways, that's because there are different ways of talking about it. And again, it's all along that understanding that like Richard Rudd really wants you to hang out and think about these things, not just take it for surface understanding and then run, right? Because it's not for that. It's for a deeper understanding of who we be. It's a deeper understanding of who we be. Okay. And that way we can be our higher vibrational selves by choice when we call in our energy, call on our tools. Yeah. So that is what's here. That is what's here. It's coming out of the other spiritual quotient. It's coming into the vocation, then culture and brand. And then these are the exponents that allow us to bring everything together. Okay. So that's my little entree to the stop, girl. That's my little entree. Did I share it? I was sharing, you guys. Was I not sharing? Don't embarrass me like that. I don't think I was sharing. Incredible. That's not a word, y'all. Don't buy the nonsense. That's not a word. Oh my gosh, how did I do that? Only I. I thought I pressed share. Lot of mercy. Let's try that again. I think it shut off. I could have sworn I saw just this, but I must be getting tired too, so that could be part of it. So here we go. I might have shut this down and then not reshare it to show you the star pearl. Is that what happened? Oh, that's probably what happened. So y'all saw this part. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So I remember seeing the little green menu down here. So yeah, so the green part is the purpose path. So it's the activation of purpose. It's all happening all the time. That's what we need to know. It's all happening all the time. And then these are just our little focal points to help us understand, start untangling our stories and finding our truth and our genius, right? So this is the love and the relationships path, is the red part. And then the star pearl, so we're going to look at next, but this is the prosperity path. The pearl is it's like floating in the middle with its legs crossed. And that's what's happening in real time. So how fun is that? All right, so one more, and then this time I'm gonna actually show you the star pearl, I promise. I've been saying that for the last 20 minutes. Do y'all hate me? Oh my God. All right, sharing. Little sharing screen is on. Now you should be seeing it. This is what's happening. All right, so yes, this is my beloved's star pearl chart. This is also free again, so if you use the link in the chat, you can get your free chart, and then you go into the star pearl section. It's a separate section, but it is still free, so you can pull your own star pearl. Okay, don't let them tell you anything different. All right, so that was that. You saw where that spiritual IQ or spiritual quotient moved into the vocation here, right? So that's the natural bounce effect here. And then it is supported, highlighted energetically buoyed by these additional three, which is important, right? Because this is the downward triangle, that's the representation of feminine, right? And it's that feminine balance, wisdom, truth that is what we're moving into in this new human conversation that we've been talking about and that you'll be hearing even more about in the next 2 years. What is the new human? What is a new human? Who are you in your new humanity? Will you allow yourself to have that experience, even if it doesn't always feel natural? Because it won't, right? However long you've been here is however long you've lived without that experience. But what's familiar is not it's not always positive, right? I remember when Dr. Sue Morter had, like, she told me that to my face. Dr. Sue Morter told me that to my face, and I was so clear on, like, so my vibrational, like, how do I keep moving back into this non-vibrational thing when I know I want this energy. And she was like, and she's like, you just have to remember that being uncomfortable is not always bad. And considering that I was and am and do and have been for years now teaching of integration and healing, and knowing that you need to be able to follow the pain to the gift, right, to the healing. And like it was like, how did I miss that? How did I miss that? But that's the thing, is we keep wanting to go back to the comfortable, and then that we go back to the familiar, and then that we go back to the pattern. So we talk about that on our episode. I'm chiming off, so I'm not competing with myself in the algorithm.